This is the fog of truth.
During the next hour, everything you'll hear from us is really true.
This is the fog of truth.
Have I totally lost my mind trying to reconstruct the past from other people's words?
Brother to brother, brother to brother, brother to brother, brother to brother.
It's very difficult to keep the line between the past and the present. Do you know what I mean?
It is not that I hate it, I love it. I love it very much, but I love it against my better judgment.
Okay, I guess I will start this episode of Fog of Truth. And Bart, if there are like any sponsorific information things that you have to do, like disclaimers that I don't know because I don't pay attention to that stuff, then you can just jump right in at any time. But otherwise...
Well, John, if John Wildman PR would like to be a sponsor, that'd be fine with me.
Oh, no. I'm trying to have less clients. Anyway, this is going to be a special episode, which I don't think we've actually done something like this before, where we're looking at a few films that played at one specific film festival. And this is for Dances with Films, LA version. And Jackie Tepper, who is a programmer for their documentary films, I don't think she gets a lot of credit for the curation and the program she puts together, but they can always be counted on as to have really good and diverse programming. A lot of subjects coming from every direction you can imagine. So we picked out 3 films, 2 feature length and 1 short, to show that diversity of them. And a couple are admittedly my favorites, and we'll understand why as I start talking about them. And also, just for full transparency, yes, I am the publicist for Dances with Films, although I'm not the publicist for any of these 3 films that we're going to talk about. So there you go. Bart, am I missing anything?
No, welcome to the Fog of Truth. My name is Bart Weiss, and that is John Wildman.
Let's start with the short film. And
John, so when we talk about Folsom's Run, which is the short film, we should mention that I think one of the reasons you like this, other than it's a good film, is that you care an awful lot about dogs and about taking care of dogs, and that is central to this film. So would that be fair?
It's absolutely fair. Yes. When I'm not pointing at cameras on a red carpet or doing those things that I do, doing interviews at film festivals, yes, I frequently find myself in the middle of a dog rescue situation, sometimes driving them literally across the country to a new home. It's obviously something I care a great deal about. And yes, this documentary in particular, for many reasons, had me at hello, like they say on Jerry Maguire. And I will admit also, my favorite moment of the festival is I actually got to have my picture taken with 2 wolf dogs on my red carpet. And one actually licked my face. It was the best thing in the whole wide world. A big freaking wolf dog licked my face, and I got my pictures taken with him. So,
all right, so before we go on, okay, first of all, you might want to describe what a wolf dog is.
Yes.
And how that is central to this film. And were you at all scared? Because wolf dogs could be dangerous.
Right. Yeah. Let me end. I'm like, yeah, because I get excited about this. But Folsom's Run, written and directed by Evan Morton. And I'll just read the synopsis for the film, which is: what happens when people play God and mix man's best friend with the big bad wolf? Follow Apex Protection Project on an exciting mission to expose the harsh truths about a beautifully misunderstood species, the wolf dog. Bred to be tame, born to be wild, Folsom, who is one of the wolf dogs, finds himself on his last legs as he faces euthanasia. Yes, these are their various percentages of how much wolf, how much dog. They are very large hybrids of wolves and dogs. I was not frightened at all because, of course, I work with dogs all the time. I rescue them various shapes and sizes, but usually pretty big. My own dogs. I don't have a dog that's less than 70 pounds in my house. So I'm used to that. Now, when I ducked in for the photo next to the 2 dogs, and which I'm on the ground, like I'm close to the ground so I could be in the picture between the 2 of them, there were filmmakers watching this who were scared for me, who were literally freaking out. And I'm like going, I'm fine. They're dogs. Yes, they're part wolf, but they're dogs. Now, the funny thing is, one licked my face, and they're all very sweet. And I've joked before that the wolf dogs were better behaved on my carpet than a lot of the filmmakers. But as a reflex, I started giving one of those wolf dogs, I think it was Thor. It was Thor and Rama were their names. And I think I just as a reflex started giving some scratchings. And the trainer, handler, pushes my hand away and goes, no, not there. And I had that moment of going, oh my God, yeah, you're right. I can't forget and just as a reflex do that, because while they're
lose a hand.
while they're wonderfully behaved and they're fantastic, they still are part wolf and they're still part wild, even though they're for the most part they're tame. But back to the film. Obviously I'm in the bag for a film like this in a lot of ways
Because you do this.
because I do this exactly, and I'm the easy target for it. But so I worked hard to look at it from a distance. And the film, again, it's a short doc, and it has, I don't want to say an infomercial quality about it, but the way it presents the information has a little bit of that slick kind of thing of here we are at this location, this is what we do. And the Apex people are key to this because they're walking you through how they trap the dogs or how they come in and then what the process is. And of course they have to, because we don't know what the hell they do and how they do it. So they have to do it that way. So I forgave it in that respect, even though I'm normally not a fan of that kind of slickness in terms of the presentation. But I also looked at the information here and being clear on what the struggle is so important that I was like going, okay, then do it that way. If that helps keep it simple for everyone and have them follow along, then yeah, then I'm all good. What did you think?
It does a good job of showing what happens when you have a more wild dog than people are connected to. And so if one happens to see one, there's a way of dealing with it. And there are people who understand what it is. And it goes into detail of the whole process of when they take it, how they handle it, what they do to get it to a place where the dog can feel safe and roam around and be free. And it goes through all of that. And I think it does a really good job at what it does. And it does what many good documentaries do, is it gives you an insight and a picture of a world we otherwise wouldn't see and understand heroes that we didn't know were heroes. And I think that's what the film does.
Yeah, I'm glad you put it that way, because I oftentimes go on that thing of documentaries. Either you go in thinking, I knew about this, and then you realize, oh, I had no real idea about that. And this is one of those things where, you go, common sense says it's like this and this. And this is a few cases, a few details in the wolf dog situation scenario where you go, no, that it actually doesn't work out that way. And how you care for them, how you build a world for them, and frankly, how dangerous are they? It doesn't go according to script easily in that way, I think.
So, Johnson, this is an area that I don't know very well. Haven't had a dog since Petey died. Are there other people like Apex in other cities that are specifically handling these dogs?
I believe there are. I don't think there's a plethora of them, but I think it is a situation where I don't think Apex is the one-stop shop. I think there are a few scenarios, like there are a few groups that deal with this. Let's face it, there's been legislation in some states trying to curtail the wolf dog breeding, and also I think even to eliminate them, which is one of the reasons why the organizations like Apex are so important, because you go, it's not the animal's fault. And unless they're literally endangering what you call herds and farms and stuff like that, you go, that doesn't mean we have to, do that. All right. So that's full drunk.
So which one do you want to go to next? Do you want to go to the music, or do you want to go to Africa?
I want to go to Africa, and reason I want to go
And by the way, before we go on, we should let everybody know that John is wearing an Indiana Pacers shirt.
Oh no, not Indiana Pacers. You got it wrong.
Oh.
Actually, the Indiana
Fever.
I'm wearing my Caitlin Clark jersey.
Oh, Caitlin Clark. So that means somebody's going to sock you in the mouth.
That's I'm a big Caitlin Clark Indiana Fever fan.
Okay.
So there you go. All
All
right.
right.
So there you go. Now that Bart has painted that picture for everyone, there's a
Check-
reason there's a reason I'm going to go to this one next, because you have a personal thing about this one, a personal contact. So
Yes.
the film is One But Many. This is directed by Jana Jacopo. And again, I'll read the synopsis. This is an unflinching documentary that reveals how the escalating global crisis of human-wildlife conflict is being weaponized, used against the people and the animals who suffer the most. The film exposes deep ties between the trophy hunting industry and policy decisions driven by both U.S. and African governments, leaving the communities and the wildlife in deadly peril. But in parts of Kenya, where trophy hunting has been banned for decades, extraordinary models of coexistence are not only emerging, they are thriving. And I will now send this over to you, Bart, because as I discovered when we talked about this film, you've actually been to this place, one of these places.
Absolutely. So, first of all, the way the film starts talking about is this sort of sense of danger between people and animals, and that there are situations that come when there's difficulty between them. And it sets up the world from which the conflict then arises out of. That there is a sense when animals are off of a land for a reason, and they come, they have to do things, and then they threaten people, and the people do things and they threaten the animals, and back and forth. So it does in the very beginning set up this sort of dynamic, which it then returns to in the end. But the bulk of the film really goes into the way in which initially you have all these generally wealthy, I would say generally Republican people who will go to Africa to kill all of these rhinos and elephants and other animals for trophies, and which is a truly disgusting and revolting and horrible thing, both for the animals, for the culture, and it's just like really horrible. So what happened is, and this film goes into how it began and what became of it, and this is where like me and my wife Susan fit into this, is that instead of taking safari trips where people go to shoot the animals, now in Kenya and in other places, you can take a trip to Africa and photograph the animals. And instead of eliminating all these incredible animals and all these communities and all of the villages that require all of this stuff for a living, now those are all doing well. These safaris that you go to, it was just an incredible time. And the guides you have are incredibly knowledgeable, and they take you around and they show you the vegetation, they talk about the animals, and they know where to go so that you get the best shot. So that when you go home, you can show people all of the photos. And I've got photos and videos that I took on my time down there that are just really quite incredible. But what it means is that these villagers who were really like struggling to survive are now thriving. And particularly these folks who were the guides who were really good, they're actually making a good living and able to take care of family. And instead of killing people and having this horrible stuff going on, these breeds are doing really well. The zebras, the lions, the elephants, the rhinos, and we got a chance to see them really close, and they're just absolutely magnificent. The photos are really great, but just being there is just magnificent. It's just a, if anybody is curious about doing this, there are many of these trips that you can go to that are just magnificent. And funny thing is, on the trip we went to, almost everybody we went to has done this like 4 or 5 or 6 times. They just keep coming back because it's just so wonderful. But so this film sets up the problem, and then it shows you how it started to change and what that difference meant.
And I'm always fascinated by documentaries that have a call to action aspect about them. And it's the documentary goes, we're going to give you all this information, but we're giving you this information because we literally want you, or we need you. We think we need you to do something, to act on it. And I think as a filmmaker, that adds an additional challenge. It adds an additional challenge because you're not just a storyteller now. You're a storyteller that you're really hoping, that you're not just going to have somebody go, oh, I really learned something. But you also want to take another step and go, and now I'm going to call my local congressman, or now I'm going to send some money to somebody, or now I'm going to adopt another dog. It's whatever the situation. And I admire filmmakers that do it well, because if you don't do it well, then again, it can sound like just a big old sales pitch. And I think this one does it very well.
It's not really selling you on doing anything. It's selling you on that this idea that they did worked out really well. They're not telling you to go do a safari, but they are saying this is what happened and this is how it saved it. And there are some interesting ethical considerations you can have when a filmmaker is clearly pitching a concept. And as long as they're clear on that's okay. But there are some people that might, say that they prefer more pure documentaries where you are just observing, seeing, editing. But anytime you make an edit, you are implying something, an intent, which has a need for something. But anyway, that's an ethical discussion for another day.
Yeah, and I think one of the reasons why I think this one works so well is because the director, Janet Jacopo, is a photojournalist. Before she decided to make this movie, she made a living as an accomplished photojournalist, I think award-winning, frankly. And I had an opportunity to talk to her, to interview her. And one of the questions I always have for filmmakers is like, you make a documentary like this, and now suddenly you're the expert. And especially if you do an extensive film festival tour, and then you are basically going to be the one that everybody goes, they have all the answers. And I'm always curious, filmmaker by filmmaker, how much they embrace that, how much of that is a pain in the ass responsibility, how much they're eager to take on that mantle. And she was pretty great, where she was, I thought, where she was like, I don't have the only answers, but I am very happy to talk at length about all the things that I've seen, because I think, like you're saying, she is a veteran of going over there so many times and seeing so many of those places there in Kenya that she can speak in a very detailed manner on what the reality is.
If you take a longer look at, if you make a documentary, especially a feature documentary, you spend so much time with your subject, knowing that all of those ins and outs, and then you spend all that time in the editing room, sometimes years, going through all that material. Most people who make a documentary have a very narrow thing that they know an awful lot about. And so oftentimes they are good people to know. Perhaps she would be able to tell you, if you were going to go on a safari, which one would be the best to go to, because there are many.
Yeah.
And by the way, there are two things you should know. All these safaris, they serve you drinks all the time. Like all the time. Like with lunch, with dinner, while you're out there at sunset. It's, yes, I don't drink that much, but they were constantly giving you. And the other thing that is truly amazing is the food is really good, and you're in the middle of no place, and they're cooking with solar ovens, and the food is magnificent, and it's a miracle.
Wow, you're like the pitch man for the tourism industry there. Holy crap, Bart. Jesus.
I'm just telling you what I observed, and
that's great. Yeah.
And I'm grateful that my wife really wanted to do this, and Susan took us there, and it was a really great experience.
All right. Okay. Our third of the three films is a film that I watch. I oftentimes say, because when I'm doing a film festival, I have to watch films for work. If I'm interviewing people, but I'm rarely actually inside a theater because I'm running red carpets, I'm running press junkets and stuff like that. So I sometimes will have my own personal private film festival after I get home to watch films. And this film in particular, I really wanted to watch because I had a particular interest in the subject. And like, I couldn't wait to watch this. I couldn't see it in the theater because I was working, but I couldn't watch it afterwards. So the film is I Need You, 53 Years of the Band America. And in the film, Jerry Buckley and Dewey Bunnell, two of the founding members of the Band America, They've spent all this time touring together, 53 years, playing nearly 100 shows each year. And this documentary leads up to the final show that they're playing together. They decide to take a step back. So we get to see the history, and we also get to see how they are now, their dynamic, and what have you.
Indeed. So you made your point that you watched it and look forward to watching it. I was never a big fan of the band America. They were not the kind of music that I was listening to. And I've heard all of the hits and they were fine. But let's say that I can't ever remember choosing to play one of their songs.
Wow. How dare you? How dare you, sir? My good God.
It must be an un-American.
Ventura Highway, just your golden hair. Oh, yeah.
I can appreciate that when in watching the film, you can see that the lyrics are all well done and all of the music is incredibly well produced. It's just not my cup of tea.
Wow. Okay, then I'm going to steamroll ahead because because I feel I need to protect Jerry and Dewey.
Oh, you don't need to protect. And look, I don't have to love every kind of music. I'm sure. Like we could have a film about the band Stereolab, which I love, and you may not even have heard of.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. Anyway, all right. Here's what beyond the fact that
you're a fanboy.
I was and am a fan of the band.
Do you have any T-shirts of America?
I do not have T-shirts. I never saw a concert, but yes, but I have.
Do you have any vinyl albums?
I don't have vinyl, but I have, I think, 3 of their records in my CD library, my vast CD library, because I'm all about physical media. But here's the thing, beyond any of that, I really enjoyed about the film that normally I would see as a big hurdle in making a watchable film. And that is the fact that these 2 guys are just the nicest guys in the whole wide world, which explains why 5 decades they were still able to do so much touring together and not kill each other and not have feuds. And so you go, then where's the conflict? Why, why other than just watching how this hit came about or how they wrote this hit or the inspiration or whatever, then what are we watching? And because of the third member who has since passed and had to drop out, there were some issues there that happened with him. But what is great is a couple moments where they talk about 2 key incidents that happened with him.
We'll just call him the guy who died.
The guy who died. And so they're talking about these 2 key incidents. Dan Peek is his name. And in one incident, he severely hurt himself to the point that they thought they might even have to cut off his arm. And he said that he got jumped like super early in the morning while he was out on a drugs bender. And then Jerry Beckley's talking about it. And he said that he actually went out afterwards and literally followed a trail of blood to see what happened and to investigate further, and found that the guy had busted through a window and clearly had cut an artery as he busted through the window in some drunken, drug-fueled binge. But the way he said it, he was almost like a half whispering, shy to basically call his bandmate and friend a liar. He was very timid to do that. And then there's another story where he does it. And in the other story, he literally conspiratorially leans in and says, I don't think that actually happened. And it's hilarious where you go, oh my God, these guys are so nice. This guy, Dan Peek, has been dead for a while, and they still are like protective and don't want to actually say out loud that he lied or that what have you. And it just
because we all know that people who are taking drugs and are alcoholic tell the truth all the time.
It just made them even that much more endearing, that they're so kind and so sweet to each other that even in this kind of incidents, they couldn't do that. And to me, that actually made the doc even that much more enjoyable because you go, this just is almost beyond belief that people at this point can be that nice and that sweet.
I thought the film was very well made. And one of the things that it had going for it was that you set up at the very beginning that this is the last show, and then you get to see the last show. So the construct of that, I think, plays off very nicely. And look, when you see a film about a band, And what most people love is a song comes on, you say, oh, I love that song. I remember when that song was out and I was going out with that person and this thing happened. And I don't think I have any memories that I can talk about that happened when I heard any of those songs, except maybe I turned the radio off.
Wow. Here was one of the reasons that I did want to talk about, because to me, it flew in the face of that thing that for a documentary to be interesting or worth it, they had to have this extreme conflict, or it had to have this extreme secret reveal of something. This has none of that, and yet I still found it insanely watchable.
They say conflict is the essence of drama, and there wasn't a lot of conflict in the band.
Okay. Anyway, moving on.
It's not like, say, any other band documentary, and there's a lot of conflict between the characters.
Right. Yeah. It's not like we were watching the Eagles and had the story of the fist fight on stage, but between members or two other members conspiring to fire another one because he refused to sing a song. It's nothing like that.
And the Led Zeppelin doc is very good. I don't know if you've seen that one.
I have seen the Led Zeppelin doc, and and I'm glad you
I
brought.
like that music better.
But yeah, but that's also another documentary about a band that has like almost no freaking conflict whatsoever.
But they happen to be like the best people doing like each one of them is incredible. Not that the people in America weren't good, but I think the people in Led Zeppelin, you might say, were the best at what they were doing at that era. And silence.
I'm just gonna let that one hang there.
Hey, and there were other bands I liked better during that era. But look, if you are a fan of this band, America, for which in America there are lots of, you will absolutely love this movie. And it seemed to me, because there are or were, many of the fans are getting old, I'm sure that this should be on some streaming service because there are many fans of the band. And this is the kind of thing that streamers, right?
Oh yeah, I think this thing is gonna find its way to Netflix or something and just play forever. And let me give a shout out to the directors, because I have not done that as yet. This was co-directed by Dustin Elm and David Brushell, so we can name check those guys for their very good documentary.
And again, one of the things that is very important in a music documentary is the level of access you have and trust of the performers. And they had absolute cooperation and they had absolute trust, which enables you to get good interviews, which enables you to get, I guess what you really want in a film like this is to know what these people are like, not just from the personas we think we know, but what they are in real life and what their struggles are and who they really are as people. And this film really does that.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Anything else you want to say about this masterwork of documentary cinema?
Wow. Okay. Shade merchant. No, I'm all good now. I'm all good with that one.
Thank you and John was the one who brought all of these three from Dancing with Films. And next year, Dancing with Films will be when?
The Dances with Films is both in Los Angeles, and there's also a New York City version. Dances with Films in LA always takes place in June during summer or close to July. And Dances with Films New York City happens in December.
Excellent. So if you happen to be in those cities during those times, you might go and catch some really good documentaries. Okay, with that, I should tell you, Fog of Truth musical theme is composed by Jeremiah Moore, composed for the podcast and used by permission. If you have any questions about why somebody would love the band America, you can email us at disinfo@fogoftruth.com. We will be back soon with more information about music docs or docs about Africa or docs about dogs or docs about the many things in this world that documentary filmmakers find really fascinating. Thank you so much for listening to The Fog of Truth.